Okay, we are in John chapter 19, verse 25, and I'll start. Now there stood by the cross of Jesus his mother, and his mother's sister Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved, which was John, standing by, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Behold your mother." And from that hour, that disciple took her to his own home. So again, Jesus is still caring for others, even while he's on the cross. You know, he is in this agony and pain, and he looks on and sees his mother and his aunt and his dear friend Mary, and thinks of his mother and asks John to care for her, and for Mary to look on John as her son. I think all during the scriptures how it talks about in the Gospels, there are moments when things occur and it says that Mary tucked these things or treasured these things away in her heart. And it's really sweet that John saw that and noticed that, and then he was asked to take that place of the son to care for Mary. Jesus knew that Mary would miss him as her son, and not only would she need caring for, as the eldest son would take on the responsibility of caring for the aging mother, but relationally she needed a son in that way. And for whatever reason, it was John that he asked to do that, not necessarily James or one of his earthly brothers, but he asked John to do that. And I think it's good for us to remember that Jesus will often ask us to do things that are maybe not the norm for what would be expected, but is a good fit for us. And not to ask, why did God ask them to do that and not me? At the end of John chapter 21, when Jesus says to Peter that he'll be, I think he's talking to Peter, that he'll be basically crucified or he'll be martyred by the end of his life, and Peter's like, well, what about him? What about John? And Jesus is like, what's that to you, Peter? You follow me. And so it's important that we don't get caught up in the tasks and assignments that Jesus gives to others, but to cherish the tasks and assignments that he gives to us, and to know that he will fit us for those tasks and assignments. I didn't intend to talk about that, in thinking on these verses, but that's what's coming to my mind right now. Yeah. And I love that Jesus loves us well.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I've often thought about, in this set of passages where John has been given the responsibility for Mary, and the emphasis oftentimes, as you mentioned, can be on, well, John, now it's time for you to take care of Mary. And so there's a responsibility that's there. But I think, as I was thinking about it too, I was thinking about the importance that there is in the reality that now John has Mary in his life as a support and a woman of faith. And I wonder too if that's the case with the reason why Mary wasn't entrusted to Jesus' half siblings, because none of them, we have any evidence of them ever coming to faith up until the resurrection, and then there's some historical evidence and so forth, biblical evidence, that some of his family did come to the Lord. But so Jesus, at this point, there are no other disciples that are there following him at the crucifixion.
Right.
John's the only one that's there, and of course none of his other family are there besides Mary, and so it's a natural fit really for that to occur. And what a blessing for John to have Mary there and for Mary to have John as well.
I was thinking of the contrast of how I'm on the sidelines all the time watching my kids play basketball or soccer or whatever, and there's Mary on the sidelines watching her son go through this agony. So
Yeah.
it's a big contrast.
Awesome. I'm going to pause one more time, and I need to plug in my phone because the battery's about to die.